Hello, welcome everybody. Time for day 2.
Hello.
I'm Gods. This is Winter. We're commandeering the Dota Cinema stream for at least the first couple of games, and we'll be being taken over by some of your other friendly faces. Downstairs in the Building Summit 3, we've got some other fellow casters, Cinderin, LD, Lumi, Sunshine will be joining us as well up here soon. But right now, we've got IG vs Vici Gaming. If you're on this stream, you're in the right place.
Chinese Showdown.
The Chinese Showdown. That's why we're here, Winter. We're all about the Chinese Dota. Nothing against the other team. All Dota is created equal. I'm very welcoming of all kinds of
Chinese Dota.
Some is more equal than others.
Yeah, this game is going to be really interesting because IG going to look to show that the last game that they had yesterday, which they had the draft, which was not so good, they're going to look to bounce back after that game. Right? It was a really disappointing game for them after the way they started the day. They started with 2 wins and the loss was really, not what I expected. Like, I thought they would at least be able to put up a good show, but that game was against Rave was a pretty tough game for them.
Yeah. So, I guess right now both these teams have a 2-1 record, so it's at least doing okay. Everything going okay, Shannon? Okay. Picture time. All right. Smile for the camera, Winter. I made the big mistake of wearing a green shirt today. Yeah, I'm invisible on stream. I didn't realize, I just went through the whole intro, and then I'm like, oh, whoa, hold on, what's going on here? Yeah, you can close the door. Thanks, buddy. So we've got Vici Gaming versus IG to kick things off here, and yeah, as you said, fairly important game. I mean, you play 15 games, so it's hard to put too much emphasis on any one game. Obviously, you want to be beating the weak teams, and the games against the other teams with a similar record.
Every point is going to be important. You never know when it's going to be the point where you feel, oh dear, we really should have won that game.
Yeah.
That point would have given us a different...
Top 8's the main thing. As long as you're in the top 8, I feel you're pretty good. You don't want to be you don't want to be versing a team that goes 15-0 necessarily, but as long as you get 8th place, let's say, you're in there, even if you're versing the number 1 seed, be it Secret, EG, you can at least prepare for that match, watch their replays, figure out how to play against them. And have the second life, you start in the winner bracket. 9th to 12th, well, then you're in the lower bracket. Any lower, well, then you're out. You're going home.
Yeah, but at least you're still in the running of the tournament. It's just you only have 1 life. It's everyone else has 2 lives.
That's the Navi approach, or at least the old Navi approach. The new Navi approach is, well, they'd love to be in that 9th to 12th slot at this point. They started day 1, 0, and 3, but here we are. No Navi in this game. Vici Gaming, Dire Side, banning out the Ember and Batrider. IG ban out the Wisp and Juggernaut, and Vici Gaming first pick Vengeful Spirit. Nothing too crazy going on just yet. The Ember ban may be a bit out of the ordinary, but
yeah, that is actually quite surprising. IG, you didn't really feel them wanting the Ember that much anyway. They're always getting Ferrari on a lot of other different heroes, and they don't really put Luo on the Ember. I've never seen him play Ember, so it's usually a Ferrari hero. And the past few games he was playing Morphling a couple. He was playing the more carry heroes, and the game they lost he was playing Puck.
Okay. What was it? They did that really greedy draft. Was it a Morph plus Dro, was it, or something?
No, they started the draft with a Troll and a Juggernaut opening.
Okay.
And they followed up with a Zeus, and I was thinking
oh yeah.
They were gonna do support Zeus, and I was thinking the other support partner the Zeus would be someone that can actually stun. And they pick a Jakiro. I'm like, dude,
yeah.
Both the supports 1 levels and 1 farm, and nobody's gonna be able to land a spell to hold enemy down first. Ice Puff is just not reliable. Yeah. And that game was just difficult. So much weight was on the Puck, which was Ferrari in the middle lane. He was the only one who could set up kills.
I think it was the game they won where they had the Morphling and Dro Ranger. That was against LGD, I think.
That was the first game.
And it looked like they'd done something really greedy. Yeah. And somehow Morphling just
we didn't expect
it up.
The lanes to go so well.
Yeah, the lanes went incredibly well. They just steamrolled, but it definitely looked like from the draft that it was they had a kind of slightly more greedy draft and should have had a harder time, at least in the early game. We'll see Vici Gaming pick up the Tide. This is something they prioritize. Few teams still doing it. Especially on that Dire side. Well, I feel like they pick on either side, but it's especially strong on the Dire side because you stack the Ancients. And
easier to stack there.
And Venge also helps the Tide kill the Ancients with the Wave of Terror. So I think I saw they had a 6 stack on the Ancients yesterday, and then suddenly Tide goes and farms.
He didn't get the rocks as the golems as well. He got all of the thunder lizards and the dragons.
3 lizards and 3 dragons. Yeah. It was like, are you kidding me? So he just got himself like 2k gold off of that. He finished his mech, and then it was like, oh, got another 2,000 gold.
I remembered that scene very clearly. I was like, this guy is some lucky guy.
Remaining.
Not even one set of golems.
Yeah.
5
Well,
seconds
we'll see. I imagine a similar, at least, idea this game. A lot of ancient stacking in mind. IG would have seen that
Reserve
game, so
time.
it's something they'll be very wary of, and at least look either to contest or to at least block off with
It's
a
gonna
ward.
be really tricky though. Like they have to make sure that when they go there, they need to have like the brew split.
Yeah.
They need to use the split to contest, and
Vici Gaming.
they need to have the other thing they need to have is the ward.
The Roshan,
the Roshan
above Roshan.
the above Roshan ward as well for scouting information. They need to make sure when they know when the Tide Hunter is actually going in, so they can get ready with the smoke and bring lots of
10
people to come and
seconds
steal the
remaining.
stack.
Well, if they want to try and do that, they're going to need
5
some early fighting
seconds
here as well.
remaining.
Maybe even something that can farm the ancient stacks to some extent on their own side,
But
whatever that may be.
who is going to be able to
Reserve
farm
time.
ancient stacks that early other than Tide? Maybe a
No.
drought, something like a drought would be light, but it requires lifesteal. Anything along
Yeah.
those lines.
There's not many good
It's not
heroes.
many good. Yeah, exactly. Not many heroes that can actually farm the ancient stacks
Well,
like Tide.
The other good thing you can do is let the Tide get the ancient stack nice and low. And
Then
time it. If you have the ward, that's what you
Yeah.
say. Having the ward, and you go in when the ancients. He's maybe killed off like some of the small, like squishy black dragons, but the big ones are getting low. You kill the Tide, and then you
You take the
try
big
and steal
prize.
them. Yeah. The brew split, as you said, is essential because that means if Tide is
Gaming's
ravaged,
turn
like
to
the brew split
ban.
kind of, Brewmaster doesn't have to worry about that. He can at least get off his ulti and force Tide to either use a rushed bad ravage or just not use the ravage at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be really important for them to make sure they at least do some damage when the Tide is
10
like even
seconds
if
remaining.
they couldn't contest the ancients, they have to be able to find objectives, take a
5
tower, do
seconds
something
remaining.
when the Tide is taking the ancients. But preferably, it's always better to stop him from doing the ancients. At
Reserve
least steal his
time.
ancients or kill him.
Yeah, I don't feel like they can just look to sit back. Okay, we're going to go Morphling. I was about to say that they could look to go for that
Vici
hard carry.
Gaming,
Morphling at the
turn
same
to
time
pick.
could fight pretty early. Like around the time Tide's trying to kill Ancients, Morphling's like maybe level 9, has his Aquila, Treads, Bottle, Magic Wand.
A lot of damage.
He's ready to fight around that stage. So not exactly just because he's a big late game farmer doesn't mean he's not able to contest.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is like Morphling with the Brewmaster, like someone tanking the ancients, he could steal the ones with low HP fairly
Yeah.
easily
10
as well. So
seconds remaining.
it's something that IG has for them going right now.
5
And
seconds
it
remaining.
doesn't. I'm just thinking maybe it's a support morphing, but nah, they have Lion. Chuan
Yeah,
is
I
gonna
think
play
so.
the Lion, so
10
there's no way it's gonna
seconds
be a support
remaining.
morphing.
This is going to be... Ooh, Vici get the Shadow Fiend now. So
Invictus
Minus armor
Gaming's
galore.
turn
yeah,
to
minus
pick.
armor galore. Morphling, though, has a lot of armor, especially in the late game with all the agi he gets. So physical damage is... I mean, it's going to be amplified a bit, but at least it's not a hero who's going to look like paper towards the physical damage. Morphling's normally more scared of, like, burst magic damage.
He's actually afraid of only one armor reducing hero.
Yeah.
Elder Titan. That's the ultimate.
Other than him, I think, yeah, the Morphling's a
10
good hero to have
seconds
against this
remaining.
minus armor. So we'll see where they go next. As far as IG concerned, they're
5
likely looking for
seconds
some kind of an
remaining.
offlaner for June. I feel like against this kind of like Shadow Fiend Tide, you almost need like
Reserve
another kind
time.
of core hero in some ways. Like they could get something like a Clockwork, which can contest the Ancients and all that, but they just won't have enough late game
Vici
potential then.
Gaming's
So for now, they
turn
get
to
the
pick.
Chen, which we're seeing more and more of. Maybe even somewhat of a deny pick. A lot of teams are running the Chen with the Shadow Fiend, although we haven't seen Vici Gaming run
Yeah,
many junglers.
They don't really run jungling heroes, if
Not
my
at all.
memory serves me right. I have
Nope.
not seen them run jungling heroes.
I think ages ago with the old Vici Gaming
Yeah,
squad,
the
I remember
old-
like one
the
or
old
two
roster.
games where back when they had ZSMJ, they did like a few games with Chen. I think
10
Fenrir would play the
seconds
junglers, but
remaining.
hardly ever. It's a very rare
5
thing.
seconds remaining.
There's a few like Chinese teams, like the old LGD used to never run junglers. when they had DD and DDC.
Yeah, and now VG responds with a very good support against the Chen, the cast against the creeps.
Against the Brewmaster too.
Yeah, against the Brewmaster and the creeps, it's just a fantastic support against those two heroes. IG has very strong fighting power early on with the Chen army and the
10
Brew split.
seconds remaining.
Morphing, a good carry like you say to fight early on as well.
5
It's gonna be a
seconds
lot of
remaining.
early aggression from IG. This game, like VG will be focusing more. They are gonna
Reserve
pick another
time.
call for black. I assume that.
10
So it's gonna be
seconds
tight plus two very heavy farming heroes.
Oh, I was just about to say, I thought IG might want to
Vici
act as their last
Gaming's
pick if they
turn
want
to
something
ban.
to fight early with, but they're going to ban it out themselves. So
That's actually quite surprising.
I thought that would be like a good last. I guess they have something else in mind if they're banning it out.
It's gonna be a black hero, right? Maybe a safe lane invoker.
10 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
if they want to go, they could even, if they want to be able to fight early as well, it could be like the Centaur as well.
5 seconds
Like
Yeah.
a safe lane
remaining.
Centaur type hero.
That would
Invoker
be-
kind of has. Invoker's a bit too passive in that he sits in his lane. I feel like the
Reserve
Shadow
time.
Fiend is going to sit in his lane, Invoker's going
5
to sit in his
seconds
lane, and then
remaining.
you need at least another core hero that can fight early. Because Tide at the same time also doesn't fight that much early.
Invictus
Like he can,
Gaming
but he doesn't
turn
have
to
like he
pick.
doesn't have
Yeah.
the blink initiate, like
Yeah,
the fast blink.
But
so.
I'm thinking of the invoker in a perspective where he doesn't need babysitting. He doesn't
Yeah.
need to be guarded. So
Okay.
your bench and Witch Doctor plus the Sunstrike is something that you can move around and do stuff with early on. The enemy team would have to be really careful. Like you could kill the Panda, obviously with the Sunstrike, the addition of the Sunstrike before he has split.
Even a Quaz Wex Invoker this game, I feel like would be pretty good.
Yeah,
10
either one.
seconds
You have good
remaining.
damage. EMP against Brewmaster against Morphling. the
it's
Orchid against Brewmaster.
against the
5
Chen
seconds
army as well. You have
Yeah.
the MP to burn away the creeps mana, so it'd be something that they can actually look forward to.
Okay.
So the
Vici
tri-core of
Gaming's turn
IG.
to pick.
They're going to do Brewmaster offlane, I guess, with like a safe lane Lifestealer, Morphling mid.
Off-lane Morphling. Just kid. Wait,
It could be.
it actually could be an off-lane Morphling.
Is that a thing? Do you think June can play it? I mean,
Off
June
lane-
can play anything.
Look, off-lane Morphling, Panda mid. It makes sense. Off-lane Morphling, Panda mid, Lifestealer safe lane.
Yeah. I mean, Morph mid also makes sense with a Brew
Yeah,
in the
with the
offlane.
Brew
now.
off-lane, yeah, obviously.
10
It's a
seconds
tough offlane for the
remaining.
Brew. There's
Yeah, but-
good zoning supports.
Would you want to put the Morphling against the
5
Shadow Fiend? That's the
seconds
question.
remaining.
He's gonna get harassed by the Shadow Fiend a lot later.
Oh my god.
This is like even more greedy than the than the
That's-
Invoker.
Yeah, that's a very greedy pick for Vici Gaming. Their early game could go horribly wrong and they just get knocked out. At the same time, if they do okay in the early game, their physical damage is insane. And we'll see. June's actually pick up the lifesteal. This could be okay. Maybe we're
it's-
both wrong. It could be just be lifesteal in the offlane.
No,
That's
no,
what we
no,
used
it's
to
a
see.
Should be a Panda off lane because we see a lot June and Loa. They're swapping their lanes a lot.
Okay.
And this game looks more like it's gonna be a because Lifestealer wants the like if you compare Lifestealer and Brew, who needs to farm more? Lifestealer needs to farm more, and Panda you can afford to have a slower start. Your team is gonna like the Chen's gonna push a tower later on, and on the offlane you can get some farm after that.
All right. Well, we'll see these lanes unravel here as IG going to be running the Ferrari 430 Morphling once
10
again. They've had him on it a
seconds
couple of
remaining.
times and done pretty damn well with it. You're in the game,
5
Winter.
seconds
I'm not in the
remaining.
game. Stop cheating.
You need to. It happened
Yeah.
yesterday as well. You need to reconnect
Yeah.
from here.
I'll reconnect for you. Just for you. We've got I can watch from your Dota 2 for now.
Yeah.
How's your camera work, Winter?
Yeah, it's pretty decent. So on the VG side, we have Ice playing the Tide. Super will be taking the Shadow Fiend. FY the Witch Doctor. Fenrir on the Venge. Black obviously on his Terrorblade. And on the Radiant side, we have June handling the Lifestealer. Law is playing the Brewmaster, just given a ward by Chuan. Chuan will be on his Chen. Ferrari 430 once again on the Morphing, which has proven to work really well for them. And lastly, we have CH on the Lion.
All right, well, a bit of a fight brewing here as Brewmaster pokes his nose forward. And they're looking to block some of these Chen camps here. So get down an early Sentry Ward to block off his
30
main big camp, but
seconds
they don't
to
want to let him get to the other one here. Fight is now going to break out. Ferrari hasn't skilled anything just yet. Could go into the waveform to escape. Could go into the Morph Strength, depending on the scenario, but they want to make sure Vici don't get deep into their jungle to block the other big camp for the Chen.
I think they saw the ward. Chuan was actually pinging up. Yeah, they saw it.
Yep,
They
got him.
So this would not affect him at all. This is really good for the Chen to be able to find the ward there. First bounty rune. Here we go.
Ooh, June hasn't skilled anything just
The
yet. Could
battle
go into
begins.
open wounds if he wants to, but no, he doesn't want to go in and fight, it looks like. So give the
Wow.
bounty rune to Super.
Double bounty rune for the dire side.
Shadow Fiend and Terrorblade. Well, they had two greedy carries and both get a good start with the bounty runes.
And judging by the lanes itself right now, Tide is gonna have a tough time at bottom because Lifestealer, the slow is a long duration though, and with the Lion coming in from the side, there's a lot of kill potential, and he needs to make sure he knows the position of the Chen. Like if the Chen is nearby, it's gonna be really dangerous for him to run up the lane. So he needs to place the ward in a really good position where IG is not gonna be able to de-ward. He's gonna block the camp.
Yeah. Blocks the camp, and it's hard to de-ward this. They have got one Sentry Ward, but you may need... They're pinging out the wrong spot. They're pinging like that around that magic bush spot, so they may have the wrong idea of where he's actually planted it. Mid lane Ferrari's morphed Agi to help him last hit, juice through a bit of his mana, but This is not going to be a fun lane for him. He needs to bring out some more tangos. Oh, yeah, he's already got more tangos on the way.
He's gonna rely on the Chen to make time easy, life easy for him. Oh, the Walkin.
Yeah.
The Chen has a Walkin. Oh dear.
He's going to send that mid and just probably stack in the meantime.
Poor Shadowfiend.
Yeah. Zone super out. This is going to kind of give Morphling at least his
and
bottle.
like you mentioned, they pinged it the wrong side and the sentry was like...
Yep.
This is the more common spot yesterday. We've seen a lot of games where they had the observer in the triangle. You can see here the trees. The tree...
Yeah.
The triangle here, they place it in the middle. So a lot of teams have been doing that because it's a tough spot to debot. And CH tried to do that.
And ISIS also kind of tricked them because he ran all the way over to the big camp. Like, he ran really far left and made it look like he maybe planted the ward further to the left than he actually did when he planted on his way back.
Those small little moves.
Little mind games coming out. So mid lane, first blood, the Tornado with a waveful forward Ferrari. Gets the kill there. Kind of a solo kill. The Chen Tornado obviously helping out a lot, but there was nothing. Like, that was just Morphling with the Tornado, which he already knew was there. I guess just getting a bit too greedy. Had Tangos on the way, but they arrived too late for him. That is a bad start for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, you don't want the Morphling to get a kill on the Shadowfiend. That's really big for them. Morphling now, he's gonna have the level advantage, and it's gonna be very easy for him to just waveform on top of the Shadowfiend since it's higher level.
What do you make of Ferrari's items? He goes Boots Acolyte, doesn't actually get the bottle just yet.
Yeah, with that he has a lot of... He can just wave up to the Shadowfiend.
Yeah.
And just right-click him if the creep wave is in between the river.
I guess it's more just not having the bottle yet, but he can get that a bit later on.
He doesn't need the bottle. He still has tangles and he's not spamming wave that much. I mean, with the stats and the armor, he's gonna be able...
He's going in for another kill maybe. With Boots, he can actually kill Super if Super gets too aggressive. Meanwhile, it's top lane, the Brewmaster going down. Ferrari still not looking to go in, kind of pressing up, but the top lane, Metamorph was used, as well as the chain stuns of Fenrir and FY and the Venge and Witch Doctor.
Yeah, and they have a Ring of Basilisk open right now. So they're gonna do a lot of damage to the tower here. Metamorphosis half duration more, so...
Already TPing back in is Luo to do what he can to try and keep this tower alive, but not exactly a position he wants to be running into right now. They're even looking to zone him out, so get some more illusions up. Fenrir positioned aggressively behind the
Bottom
Tier 1
lane.
tower, and...
Ice
in trouble.
Oh dear. June as well as Lion, they've got the initiation here. Going to be kept alive though, not having that Orb of Venom.
They don't have Orb of Venom for that kill. That would have been a kill if they had Orb of Venom.
They're going to channel their inner Eternal Envy, Orb of Venom all the time. Bit surprised not seeing that Orb of Venom
yesterday,
pick up.
was it the game at custom? I think it was a bit LD that we were talking about.
No, it's custom with me, I think.
Was it the game with you? Yeah, we were talking about the same thing. No Orb of Venom again. And here, Shadowfiend getting drive back. Like,
Shadowfiend had to go... He went Boots first over the bottle, because if he doesn't have Boots, Morphling just chases him down and kills him. And I guess Shadowfiend has regen as well himself, so he'll get the bottle a little bit later.
He can actually kill the Shadowfiend if the Shadowfiend comes up right now.
Yeah, if he hits the waveform.
Needs to be really careful here.
Shadowfiend is 10 going up. Once he's about reaching that threshold of HP where he should be okay. Oh, this is a nice rune for FY. He gets an invis, can make his way mid, but does get scouted out by a Raiden Observer Ward, so Morphling should not be caught by surprise by this.
Yeah, but he has nothing to worry about. It's
Morph Strength and...
He has Morph Strength and...
Oh dear, bottom lane, Tide goes down. The Lion as well as Lifesteal are teaming up for this one. No Orb of Venom, no problem. June's picked up some phase boots to help him fight out at the bottom lane. And, well, IG get their second kill of the game. Another Tornado coming in mid lane. This is going to give Super a rough time once more.
The Chen is getting all these creeps all the time. It's going to be really hard for the Shadowfiend. Yeah, are there stacks in the jungle? That's the question. There's
one little medium stack.
Yeah, the medium stack and only 2 camps, so they need to have more for him right now. Maybe the Venge will actually come over after this to help him with the stacks. But at this point, the Shadowfiend is just really far behind. He needs some help from the supports to get stacks going, catch up later. The lane is basically really hard for him right now. He's under so much threat of getting killed by the
Yeah, he's worried about the Chen gank at any time, and it's going to be a waveform forward. Doesn't actually hit Ferrari. Bottling up, has to be a little bit careful here. No runes coming anytime soon. The Chen with the smoke is about to loop around, but has just a Centaur. So getting in the Centaur's close enough for a stun relies entirely on Super going too far forward. Which may actually happen. Super may get a bit too confident here, as here comes the Chen. Centaur's at the ready, but he's not going to move forward too much.
Yeah, that was just like an attempt. He was just like hoping that the Shadowfiend will actually go out on the last hit and crit. He can get in position for a stomp. This is the type of situations where you actually rather have the penitence instead of having the test of faith.
Yeah. I mean, it's even with a penitence there, the 14% movement slow, I don't think they wouldn't have got the Centaur stun anyway.
It would be a better chance of getting a kill, definitely. rather than having the test of fate. This is just like one of the few exceptions. Like
you never know which Chen creeps you're going to get as part of the problem there. Bottom lane, though, the Chen Centaurs, they're chain stunning Ice, Impale into Hex with the double Centaurs, and Ice just so damn tanky. 3 points in Kraken Shell. This is where you do need the Test of Faith. The nuke damage wasn't enough, though. Ice.
Wave?
Oh, he misses.
Didn't hit.
That triple Kraken build. This is the Ice special. Most Tides were at least traditionally going for Anchor Smash as their main spell, but Ice more into the Kraken, and well, all these Chen creeps doing next to no damage against that.
Yeah, I guess even if he had 3 points in Anchor, he would also survive because more damage reduction and stuff like that. But yeah, this build giving him more defensive capabilities, but it's gonna require him to stay in lane longer for him to get more levels because he committed so many points into the Kraken early on.
Bottom tier, or top tier 1 tower looks to be under siege now with no one really able to defend this. Level 4 Brewmaster has Chen coming up as well, but it would require like a lifestealer TP, which he does have, but not going to use him. Terrorblade Black gets the tower, and we'll see Vici Gaming.
Here comes Chuan.
What's he going to do? It's a Witch Doctor cast.
Too late to the party.
Yeah, the cast can just hit his Centaurs and, well, I guess on cooldown for the time being, but not exactly a place where it can make much happen for the time being. So Morphling's picked up a Gloves of Haste. Well, looks like we'll be seeing a Midas for 430. I guess realizing he's going to have to be kind of the main carry with Lifestealer being that. I mean, Lifestealer can carry, but does fall off a lot, especially against physical damage. This is not exactly an ideal Lifestealer game to be fighting in the late game, but he can look to kind of apply a lot of pressure in the early to mid game.
And he finally goes back for the Orb of Venom as well on the Lifestealer because he realized he needs it. Now he's 1v1, Lions.
Fenrir scouts out the gank towards the mid lane, but he may pay for this with her own life. Impale, Centaur Stomp number 1, Centaur Stomp number 2 coming with a waveform. That's a dead Fenrir. FY now, maybe it's a problem himself. Ferrari gets maledicted up. That's just a level 1 maledict. FY gonna be just fine. No waveform mana for now. Here comes Tide 3, Hero Ravage, and the Anchor Smash. IG lose 3. Terrible fight for the IG squad as well. They get annihilated there.
Yeah, that was a really good timing, a really good position. Really good time to appear for a Tide Hunter. Coming in from behind, enemy committed so far. So far down. Was he doing some stacks?
The Tide, I'm not sure. He came from like underneath.
He came from the jungle.
I thought, he came from above. Oh, he came from behind in the jungle. Okay.
Middle tower
I guess it was, this stack has been cleared out. So I guess he killed that big stack.
Yeah, in bottom lane. He's gonna get run down by the Lifestealer, but Kraken's gonna proc and he's gonna be able to just get out.
With Kraken, with Anchor Smash, the Lifestealer does decent damage, but just not really quite enough to kill Ice on his own, it feels like.
Yeah, but he's gonna be able to do a lot of damage every time he comes up and farm. That's like the issue. The Tide is gonna take a lot of punishment from him. And here we go, the stacking commences. Fenrir is gonna start stacking the Ancients here. FY stacking the medium camp in their own jungle. It's going to be a lot of space for the Shadow Fiend to catch up later on.
I feel like IG have to know the stack's going to start and look toward it soon. Part of the problem though, Brewmaster in the offlane not going to get that same good timing on the Blink Dagger. He's doing pretty well though. Is seeing on 1200 gold, and they need that ASAP if they want to contest some of these stacks, especially the Ancient stack, I feel very important to try and prevent.
Yeah, and the last fight was a huge blow to them. Like, Ferrari almost had his Midas and he died because of the fantastic Ravage by Ice. He is still like 300 away, but it really affected his Midas timing after, the good start he had in the lane. That was a really huge blow for them. They need a lot of time to recover, get the blink on the Panda as well. Now the supports are going to be smoked up on the move with the Lifestealer, going to make a play here. At least they want to make sure that they get a tower from this.
Small window with no Ravage. They're going to waveform, push it out, and yeah, the mid-tier 1 tower in a vulnerable position. They've got great vision behind, so they know exactly what's coming. They'll take the easy kill on Fenrir, open wounds. They've got Lifestealer with a Rage, and they'll look to secure this one. Requiem of Soul's going to negate some of the physical damage, but they get the first kill. Now look for the second one. June, not exactly hitting hard. Minus 32 damage for him, but Super in a really bad spot. Doesn't have his mech just yet, and Morphling waving through, gets 1 kill onto the Lion. Terrorblade's showing up to the fight, has gotten 1, looking for a second. Chuan going to go down as well. It's the Witch Doctor with that kill. 2 for 2. The Chen Creep Army also being dealt with, and IG be forced to back out as an Invis rune will be bottled up by Ferrari. He's got his Midas at least. They don't get the tower. They get a 2 for 2 trade though. And they get the higher priority kill. They kill the Shadow Fiend, just lose their supports. But they may lose mid.
They're gonna lose the mid tier 1. Chen, he lost all his creeps if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he lost all his creeps. He needs some time to regroup. Panda still doesn't have his blink. but he's level 7 soonish. But it doesn't feel like they can actually defend this. So.
Broom may TP in with the split. Ferrari's invis as well. I think they do want to do this. They're going with the open wounds and still not TPing just yet. FY gets off the cast. Ferrari needs to waveform through the Ravages there. He's morphing strength, but can he morph fast enough? No! Oh dear! They lose the tower and their morphling. What was that?
I think the Panda really didn't want to come because he wanted to finish his blink before he fight. He doesn't want to die before he gets his blink.
Well, fair enough. That's just complete team miscommunication. As far as like Lion going in with an Impale and the morphling, like, okay, let's try and fight this, but...
Yeah, it was really clear that they have a different opinion on the situation. Both are not on the same page. That's one thing for sure.
I mean, it feels like a simple, like, one guy says, I want to go in, then the Brewmaster just says no, and that's the end of that. Or, not sure what happened there, but...
It's mostly the morphling saying...
Yeah,
dude,
I think...
Dude, you have ulti, come defend the tower. We have to defend this. But he said, I don't want to die before I get my blink. I'm really close to blink. And, you know, no, then he's yelling, come, I'm going in, I'm waving in. And he waves in, and the Panda, it's like, no, I'm not coming. Then he's like, oh dear.
It's too late. It's all
too
over
late
there.
already. It's just one of those moments where it's either you go or you don't go. You can't be in between.
And there was a, I guess... it just looked like a bad fight to be taking, even with the Brewmaster split.
It's because the tower was already too low.
And they had no initiation, no guaranteed Brewmaster would be able to even hit them with a clap.
Yeah.
They don't have that, unless he gets an open wounds off or...
He needs the blink before they can actually try and get a good fight.
Yeah.
Now there's no Ravage, they need to take a tower. Yeah, there's an opening for them to take a tower.
Yeah, and they'll have the Brewmaster Blink Dagger, it looks like. Luo, yeah, just one more creep for him, and he's got his Blink.
It's a really good timing though. He has as much last hits as the Tide. Net worth-wise, it's almost similar. Like, you don't see that often enough.
Yeah, the Ancients haven't been stacked that much.
Tide always has more net worth than the opponent's planer because of how fast he can farm the jungle or the Ancients.
Well, they want to pressure this bottom lane here. Dire team do not have much vision here, and it looks like Brewmaster just sitting back for the time being. Mech on the Shadow Fiend complete. This is a very useful item to have against some potential IG aggression, and IG surprisingly not going for the tower push while Ravage is on cooldown. Instead, they're split pushing at the top lane with Ferrari.
Is under attack.
Probably thinking they want to force TPs up there, and then they engage on bottom. Once the TPs happen, they try and take bottom. But for now, Vici's like, well, you're going to push top, we're gonna push bottom.
Yeah, but this is okay for IG.
Oh, they're gonna Shadowfiend TPing.
They're gonna give a lot of space for the morphling, and yeah, they can now try to fight bot because Shadowfiend move up to top.
Really nice Dire Observer Ward, just planted from the other side of the trees, so IG don't realize it scouts them out, and top lane Shadowfiend will defend. Nothing Morphling can do to really push into him or pressure him with the haste rune bottled.
There's a huge stack on the right as well for the Shadowfiend.
In the neutrals.
Yeah, that's on the right at the tier.
Okay.
So there's still stacks here. Yeah, there's still really a few stacks here not being done. But bottom lane, Law is gonna be the vehicle here for the lifestealer.
They've got to get in soon, and possibly the Tide they're gonna try to look to go on. Ice. A primal split.
Rage is up already.
Yeah, I guess if you primal split Rage, he's likely not to get it off.
You just want to toss him in the air, basically. You want to ignore him.
FY in a really good position here. They are going to go in with the clap. Primal split available as well. Out comes, well, Lifestealer with a Finger of Death. That's a dead Tide, and now FY in trouble as well. Tries to turn in Maledict. Hits his own tower, perhaps, and that was a nice little initiation. A Finger of Death, the other key spell that came up to get this
the Tide kill, yeah.
Successful kill.
That was crucial to have the Finger. I didn't actually know that the Lion was already 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's 14 minutes. It goes without saying, but it was one of those things we haven't seen the Finger of Death yet.
Yeah, that was the first one for sure, but that would guarantee the Tide kill, no Cracker Chapel, no Ravage coming off, and easy tower. Now the tier 2 would be a little harder for IG to go for after blowing everything, and Tide still has Ravage.
They solved the split, but it's just a infested lifesteal with a split, no burst.
They don't have the burst from the Finger anymore to actually take down, and it's a single target.
I think Vici going to maybe try going to Roshan now. Black's still got half duration on his Metamorph, but...
Maybe clear the Ancient stack.
Yeah, this is... I think there's just not enough time on the Metamorph. No, they're going in. They've got Ravage, and they know there's no Finger. Black going to start working away on Roche. The Dire team, I think, have a pretty good... Or Radiant team have a pretty good idea of this, but can they actually make a move on that? There's no Lifestealer. He's up top and really far away.
They don't have enough time. He's too far away.
Yeah, and with Ravage online, they can't really go in without him. That'd just be a recipe for disaster.
Tornado. The whole game, there's always tornadoes from this Chen.
It's just too easy. The minus armor stacking up, and even just level 1 presence of the Dark Lord. But they're going to try fight into the Aegis. Brewmaster doesn't get a fit split. He gets chain stunned and brought down. Oh. Oh, nice reactions from Vici Gaming.
That was a really good Ravage, even though it was only on one target.
Yeah.
He saw the pan. To be fair, there was an observer there before the dewater. They knew they were coming in, so he knew what was up. But it was still a really good reaction by the Tiger to immediately know that they needed the stun from him first before his supports, the bench and the Witch Doctor could follow up. That was a really good play by Ice again.
Yeah. I'm not sure it would have gone. The fight would have gone well for IG anyway. Super had his mech. He didn't even use his mech. Not to mention.
It's difficult to say though,
Aegis.
because Metamorphosis was going to end and he got a 3-man clap there. That was huge. A lot of damage done.
Well, Vici Gaming with Aegis in hand can look to just regroup, farm while they wait for the Ravage to come back up.
Yeah, it's like one of those things, you don't want to take any risks there. So he made sure his teammates was in no danger of dying when they take up the Brewmaster. And, they can use the Aegis like you mentioned to farm. It's like not like, oh, we need this Ravage to actually push a tower, get something important. Rosh is down. They are not in a hurry to push a tower. They can just, like you mentioned, go back and farm. So the Ravage being down is not a big deal for them.
Yep. Oh. Vici Gaming probably pretty happy with the tempo of this game.
Yeah, and if you're IG, you're like 16 minutes gone. How many blue splits have you used? None.
Yeah, Big Fat Zero.
Radiant's top tower is under
Luo
attack.
with the blink dagger up. He's had it for a good 5 minutes now.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes already. more or
It's
less.
sometimes the threat of the brew split, like when they got the tier 1 bottom
Radiant's
tower. Sure, he
bottom
didn't use the
tower
split,
is
but the
under
fact he
attack.
had it and was blinking in aggressively was... he could have used it, but he
The threat
wisely
is
held on to
bigger
it.
than
Yeah.
the spell itself.
Yeah. It's like, hey, he could have used the split bottom lane, but it would have been wasted when they blinked on the tide. They had the finger and they killed him without it. But you got to find opportunities to get something done now. They've got finger back up. They've
Radiant's
got
bottom
the brew
tower
split. They
is under
need to make a
attack.
move somewhere on the map.
Let's see. Morphing is going to build into a Black King bar this game. Understandable. A lot of disable, a lot of spell damage. Needs it. Lifestealer, SMY not completed yet, but he's just trying a lot to make space. Like he's always in lore, trying to get kills here and there. Net worth wise, he's almost the same as Ferrari, but the Terrorblade is just the leader of the pack. He's just very far
Radiant's
ahead of
middle
everyone.
tower is under attack.
So we'll see more Ancients being continued to get stacked up. And it looks like Vici Gaming want to just group up, go for that bottom tier 1.
Ravage is up again.
Yeah. And they can just take 2 towers probably. The tier 1 should be a pretty easy pickings for them. They have the Shadow Fiend with an Aegis. 3.2k gold on Shadow Fiend. Looking a lot like just a BKB game. It's super. He normally goes to these more kind of defensive items.
I think it's definitely a BKB game. There's so many stuff you need to worry about. The Chen, if the Chen has Centaurs, Lion itself has so many big disables against you.
Like open wounds, the clap slow. There's a lot of just annoying spells.
And Morphing is a hero that does a lot of a carry that does a lot of spell damage as well. So you want to have BKB for that the early
Dire's
fights. It's
top
definitely,
tower is under
I think, a really
attack.
good pickup for the Shadow Fiend with this game.
TP's top, so he's going to leave the rest of his team bottom. But even with just 4 here, this is not a fight IG can take.
Dire's middle
Yeah, I'm
tower
thinking
is
if
under attack.
IG wants to win a fight, they need to
Radiant
replicate what they did
structures
the
are
last time.
fortified.
Take down, they see the tide, they take him down right away with the finger.
Mid lane. Let's see where FYTP in, but there is going to be a slight defense of this bottom lane. I think realizing that there's not many heroes down here, Lure comes in. He may be forced to use his split defensively. Can he even go for a kill? TP now coming in. That's your Morphling, it looks like. The tower gets claimed by the Vengeful Spirit. They should be going for the Venge, but no, they want Black. On the Terrorblade, he has got Sunder available. They've got to lock him down in place. They do so with Impel. They burst him. Nicely played there. Couldn't get the Sunder off. And the Vengeful Spirit, well, Fenrir TP's out. In the end, it was actually the
Dire's
wise
middle
decision
tower
to
has
ignore the
been
Venge and go
denied.
for the Terrorblade.
Yeah, and the Chen, actually, he was trying to save his creeps in middle, but didn't. He was trying to recall and Hand of God, but the Hand of God came late. He didn't save his Centaur, so he's left with a Satyr and a Ursa. That's Hellbest
Sad
special.
times.
Sad times. He lost 2 of his Centaurs.
It was a bit like it looked like Vici Gaming were just going to go for the T1 tower and
Radiant's
secure it
top
with at least a
tower is
tide.
under
I feel like
attack.
not having the tide there, like the Shadow Fiend TP top, it's like okay,
Yeah, it was
they still have 4, but
It was a really a risky play though. They thought the Terrorblade and the Venge had got it, so they wanted to. Obviously, you want to take the tower with minimal resources, and you want to use the rest of your resources to defend. It's like being really efficient. You want to get everything going on.
they even went to get the kill on Lua, who's like, well, I'll use my split. I got TP support.
Yeah, it was just on their part a bit too greedy, way too greedy for them. They could have at least just maybe backed off, defended their towers, and maybe use just the Terrorblade illusions to take the tower at bottom.
Yeah.
Just a really safe play in general.
So Ice going for, well, kind of the more traditional tide build. He's going to be rushing what looks to be a refresher with his Blink Dagger. Normally it goes for much like tankier, the mech and all that, but this time around you've got a Shadow Fiend, you've got a Terror
They
Blade.
don't need the mech already because Shadow Fiend already got it, and usually in these cases you either there's a few items you could go for. It's either you go for the pipe. Pipe is a bit so-so here.
Yeah.
You could definitely want to do it, but I feel the other good option would be definitely the Force Staff against the open wounds, and you know the Boulder Smash, the Lion Disables. You need like mobility against those items, and you can save your teammates obviously with the Force Staff as well.
Aegis expires, but with a BKB on Super, Vici Gaming still confident to push this bottom tier 2 tower. Voodoo Restoration, they've got the mech. For IG, it looks like they just want to try to go for trades elsewhere on the map. Lua was farming some Ancient, gets up to 1800 gold. Morphling getting closer and closer. It has a BKB after this Midas use, and IG will be looking to defend any further push coming. Not really any way Vici Gaming can push high ground, I don't think, but yeah, they're gonna... Oh, do they go for this? They lost the Aegis. I mean, they have Metamorph, Manta.
They have Metamorph. It's risky though, but if they want to do it, it's possible because they have BKB on Shadow Fiend. Like Shadow Fiend is probably saying that I just got my BKB, I'm really strong now.
It just feels like pushing high ground in general. It's just
it's dangerous. It's really dangerous.
You're against a Brewmaster and Lion who can just blink in, get off a good clap ulti, and then followed up by a Finger of Death. Sure, we've seen them prevent the Brew Split once or twice using the insta stuns, but there's no real guarantee that you're going to do that again. So I feel like it's just way too high risk. And when you're ahead like they are, it's what, like a 5... Oh, it's only like a 1,500 gold lead. Not much of a lead, if anything, but it's probably wise just to back off and kind of look to get further ahead, look to out-farm your opponents.
And interestingly enough, you know, the Tide, he actually bought a bracelet right now. After the bracelet. It's really interesting I saw him do that.
Okay, yeah. Just deciding that a little bit more HP against like the Lion Finger looking to burst him down, the Brewmaster.
Oh, where is it? Oh yeah, it's on the career. Yeah, he just got it.
So
right?
they smoke into the enemy jungle. They had a ward here which scouted out the Terror Blade earlier, farming in these neutrals, but they're not going to find him at the moment. This smoke doesn't look like it's going to achieve too much. Black is playing very defensively, even backing off into his own base.
He's around almost halfway to the Skadi. And remember RTZ once mentioned, if you can get Skadi, Manta on Terrorblade by, say, 25 minutes, he feels he can't lose the game. That's how strong it is. If he gets it at that point.
Well,
this game, I doubt Black would actually... Yeah, I don't think... Unless he gets a couple of kills or a tower, he's not going to be able to get it that quick.
Ferrari now, level 14, BKB. What do you feel like this is for the Morphling? Like, what kind of items do you go for as a Morph?
I think Terrorblade is still really good. This game, he can burst the Terrorblade, obviously, or force a BKB or something. And they have Finger, you know. Terrorblade and Finger, it's like anyone's gonna die.
Alright, mid, and they burst him down. Blink Ravage, he dodges it! BKB and waveform forward. Really nice play from Ferrari.
That was just a lucky moment. He was trying to clear the wave,
okay.
and he got at the right time.
Yeah, they go in with the Brewmaster split. BKB forced out from Super. Is going to use the Requiem, gets that minus damage off, but no one dying just yet. So life still in the middle of things, going down to start. Well, no, doesn't go down just yet. The Brewmaster Bears get dealt with, and Vici Gaming force IG to flee. Lifestealer only narrowly escaping, and while everyone else kind of heads to the top lane, and
no Ravage, no problem.
They've got Metamorph for a good duration.
This is a high ground push.
Alright.
This is dangerous. This is really, really dangerous. What do they have? They have a
no
Finger.
split. Even when Brew respawns, he's got no split. He could buy back, but what's that going to do?
Chuan has a tornado creep. How about
wow, that's, I feel like a small victory. See how much that can do. June just getting shredded apart. Swap back in. The physical damage is just too much for the Lifestealer. They kick down the Lion as well, and it looks like Vici Gaming have just blown this game wide open. As there's just nothing IG can do except...
Rex, I guess. Bottom Rex is gone as well.
The Metamorph wears off, so it's a little harder, but they're just going to GG out. IG.
This is too much. Like Shadow Fiend and Terrorblade. There's so much damage right now.
It's like Lifestealer against this. It's like, he can't fight.
He's really bad. He's the only one that called GG, and
I don't know if his team were rated GG out.
Maybe his team was like, we can still fight, but he's like, nah, we lost this.
I think they had lost it, but it's like, most teams would at least wait for that second Rax to go down, or at least have one more fight.
Yeah,
like the Lifestealer is about to respawn in 10 seconds.
It's like, it's a bad sign, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Just like knowing Chuan and his temperament, that's like he's the fact he called GG just then, it's early. It's a little early. They'd probably lost, but it definitely was a sign
I think
that
something went wrong in that fight because I didn't quite see the details, but I knew that the Panda went in after the Ravage was used. Like they knew they didn't have Ravage. He even tossed the Witch Doctor casting his ultimate up. It looked like a really good fight for IG to take, but then
Terrorblade just did too much
yeah,
damage.
Lifesteal just like couldn't stand and fight, and they killed all the Brewlings.
They had so much minus armor, and then the Terrorblade with Metamorph, like those Brewlings just instantly died.
Yeah,
The wave combined with the Shadow Fiend aura.
It was a really tough call to make. You get this feeling they just wasted their Ravage. Boys, we are going in. But Shadow Fiend minus armor, we talked about it during the draft. A lot of minus armor. They have Shadow Fiend, Venge, and there's Terrorblade illusions hitting. You're just gonna get.
Yeah.
You're just done for in the fight in a few seconds.
The only one who was ready to maybe fight was like the Morphling. The Brewlings instantly died. The
Yeah,
Lifestealer is just a
But
kind
you
of
have to remember at the start of a fight, after the waveform, he used the BKB because he was worried.
he saw the
didn't-
Ravage and
He
panicked.
didn't have BKB, so he was worried to go in. If he gets a bench stun or a cast from the Witch Doctor, he's just dead from all the minus armor.
Well, that does it for our first game here on the Dota Cinema stream. We've got one more game coming up next.
Yeah, this game it's like hands down MVP. I think the Tide was. He made a few like ISIS made a few really crucial decisions to Ravage. It was very, in Chinese we would say, 很果断, very decisive. He didn't hesitate at all. He knew that it was the right decision. Maybe some players would have taken 0.5 more second to think about it, whether I should Ravage or not. But he just knew that he needed to Ravage, and the Brew couldn't split on time. It was just a matter of that 0.5 whether the Brew gets a split off or he gets the Ravage on the Brew first.
The Hung Kuo Tang was good. Is that my... How do you say it? Hung Kuo...
Hung Kuo Tang?
Hung Kuo Tang?
I...
Is that the word you were using to describe it?
很果断.
Hung Kuo Dan?
Yeah,
Okay,
it means he was very decisive. Yeah.
Well, it was...
很果断.
It was very... ISIS is definitely a player that plays a lot by instinct. Like, he doesn't overthink things. There's some players who are much more like thoughtful, strategic, and try and plan, and in the moment they may not make the right decision.
Those players have to be like the drafters.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But you need your player on like your mid, your off lane, who are playing initiator type plays to make a split second decision, and sometimes they make a wrong call. Like ISIS, sometimes he'll make a wrong play, but more often than not, his instincts are right.
It's better to have the chance to make a big play and screw up sometimes rather than every time you're just being too safe.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to make the call.
Well, our next game, we've got one more coming up here on the Dota Cinema stream before Suns fan will be taken over. It's going to be cdec versus Navi. Navi yet to get a win. cdec, 1 and 2, had a pretty bad day one, but they did get an upset over ehome. So, a team to look out for. They're one of those teams I can see having a good comeback.
Being able to beat ehome says a lot about the team, because ehome is, maybe some would argue VG is one of the stronger Chinese teams, but personally I feel ehome, they have a lot of potential as well with the variety of drafts they've brought to the table. So I think being able to beat ehome says a lot about cdec, even though they lost 2 games.
I think cdec's to me a top 8 team. I think
even though they had a stand-in, right? The coach is playing.
Mikasa's been playing with them for a couple months now, so
yeah, the past month or so. 1 month or so.
But it's not like it's just like a last-minute thing. It seems like
but it still means they are still looking for a player to.
You think so? You don't think Mikasa's
I don't
got
think
it?
He's listed as the coach though, so I'm not sure.
Hey, he's still a very talented player, but
yeah,
I mean he
the
coached newbee to
the
TI4.
legendary stand-in.
Yeah, I mean you have a stand-in that good. He makes a pretty damn fine coach as well. But that does it for IG versus Vici Gaming. IG 2 and 2, Vici Gaming now 3 and 1. So Vici Gaming start things off on day 2 with a bang, and we'll take a break and have Navi versus cdec in about 30 minutes time. So.
Is this the game we're going to join?
Yeah, we're in the same lobby. Same password, same lobby. You can hop on in. Check out the other games going on, guys. Either in Dota 2 or on Twitch. Looks like Secret versus Cloud9. That's a big one. That's the game to watch. Let's go. We're going to go watch that, guys. Head on over to the Beyond the Summit stream. I'll actually put it up here as well if you guys want to check it out. But for now, myself, Godswill's Winter, we're done.